This is an example for the virtual lab. Remember, the purpose of this lab is to explore how Punnett squares predict the outcomes of monohybrid crosses. We'll be using fruit flies, the Drosophila, and looking at some of the possible traits that are inherited with the Drosophila. Some things to note: we need to determine the parent genetics, that is both the allele combinations and their phenotype. And we need to figure out F1 generation, which are the field generation, the offspring of the parents. We need to figure out the alleles and the particular phenotypes. And lastly, we've got to figure out the percent chance after the cross of having those offspring. So here's the example. It says make a cross between flies that are expected to produce 50% heterozygous long-winged offspring and 50% vestigial wing offspring. So we know some information from the reading here, right? Heterozygous long wing, right? So we know one parent has to be heterozygous. They're a hybrid for long wing, right? So one parent's going to look just like that, and they're going to have the genotype heterozygous, meaning a carrier for the recessive trait. So big L, little l. And the other parent's going to be vestigial wing, meaning it has these funky wings. They're not fully designed. So there's some type of protein problem that doesn't allow them to have full wings, and they cannot fly. So they're flightless flies. So they would get both recessive alleles for the wing shape. And there's no other possible combination, right? Because a homozygous dominant would be two big L's, and that is not what we have in this particular problem. All right, in the problems you'll get your possible genotypes, so you want to check that out. You can drag the pictures of the flies into place, and I've already done that. We have one parent, doesn't matter the sex of the parent, right? But one parent has to have vestigial wing, that's its phenotype. The other parent's going to have the phenotype of long wing. Now a long wing parent has to have one allele that is capital L and one allele that is lowercase l for the recessive, being a carrier. The other parent is flightless, both lowercase l's. Alright, so when we look at this first allele is met with the first allele in the column in row. So you have capital L, lowercase l. Right. This top right, it's going to be both lowercase l's. You can see the phenotype is going to be the vestigial wing. Bottom, first block, we've got one big L, one little l. Right? So we've got a normal wing, and then we got another vestigial wing, which is going to be both lowercase l. So we can examine this a little bit. You can see our outcome is what we're looking for. We have to produce 50% heterozygous. So our first set of boxes here are all showing that genotype of heterozygous. And then we have to have 50% vestigial wing, which is actually homozygous recessive. And we got 50% homozygous recessive. So that is the outcome we were looking for. Now let's look at the part where we do the analysis. Alright, so when we do our analysis, we need to know the phenotype probability and the genotype probability. We're going to do phenotype first. The dominant trait, right? The dominant trait in this case is going to be the long wing. And it's 50%. And the recessive trait is our vestigial. And it's 50%, just as required by the problem. Genotype probability. Homozygous dominant would be big L, big L. So, in this case, none. 0%. Big L, big L. Heterozygous, big L, little l, 50%. And homozygous recessive, little l, 50%. Right, so whenever you're filling these out, not only do you have to put down the percentage, but you should also indicate what it is that percentage is representing. Right? Genotype, type out the genotype, big L, little l, and the percentages. And that's pretty much how to solve them. You have a total of 3 problems to solve. Each of those problems is worth 6 points. Total 18 points in the gradebook.